afternoon, ladies. Good afternoon. Welcome to Lotus.
See, lady, see? Lapis, real amber, very nice, very cheap. Look, lady, blue scatter, big King Ramesses.
Miss Foley, folks, Miss Grant.
Oh, yes, I have very nice cabins for you. 15 and 16. Nicest cabins on board.
Take us there, please. No! Carry it yourself, Christina. Don't let him have it.
I have it. Look, lady, real lapis, scatter, King Ramesses.
No, I don't want anything.
You like the donkey riding when you come back? I give you cards. I got very good donkey. My donkey whiskey and soda. That very good donkey. You like postcards? I got all kinds of postcards. You English lady? King George, Queen Elizabeth, hip hip hooray. Very nice postcards. Temple Filet, Tomb King Tutankhamun, English to Cairo.
Well, I need turn me top. This way, please.
Very hard postcards? You like see girls dancing? Ronated dance? I take you duck shooting. Good sport? You English gentlemen? American? Party Français? German? Italian? Russian? Yugoslavian? No? What your nationality?
Japanese.
Japanese? You like nice beads? Very cheap? Très gentile? Très chic?
No, I do not want anything. It's absurd to say those are the best cabins on board. I don't believe it. Never left my little dressing case behind.
No, Aunt Helen, I have it here.
I suppose it's where the passengers sit most of the time. Reserved, I presume, for the use of the first-class passengers.
All one class on this boat.
There's another lounge at the back of the boat.
Stern.
But this is where one will get the best view. Ah, a list of passengers. One likes to know who's going to be one's fellow travelers on a boat such as this. One can't get away, so that means one has to be very careful.
Or else one may get contaminated. Don't mind me. I'm afraid I have a habit of butting in.
Let's see. Canon Ambrose Pennefather. Well, that sounds quite nice. I wonder if it's one of the Yorkshire Pennefathers. You can't tell in the church nowadays. Dr. Bessner, foreign. Mr. William Smith.
Negligible.
Miss For you folks. Dear me, they spelled it with a big F.
That's Majesté.
Miss Christina Grant. Mr. and Mrs. Simon Marston and maid. Why, I do believe that must be Kay Ridgway.
Oh, Aunt Helen, do you think it's really her?
On a honeymoon, I suppose.
That must be it. The wedding was a fortnight ago. I read all about it in the Tatler at the hotel.
Well, really, it shall be most interesting. They say she threw over Lord Edge Boston to marry this young Marston, one of the Devonshire Marstons, poor as a rat. Steward, come here. I don't like my cabin.
Very good cabin. Very nice. Get all afternoon sun.
That's exactly what I complain of. It'll be too hot.
No. Very nice breeze when port go. Very pleasant.
I want cabins on this side of the boat.
Okay, I show you.
Christina, stay here. I don't want any of my things left behind. Is the water on this boat very fresh? Is it boiled?
It's too bad they spelled your aunt's name with a large F.
Oh, that's always happening. It's not really sensible when you come to think of it to spell a name with two small F's.
It's one of our incomprehensible English whimsies. Are you going to Wadi Hopland back for the trip, or on the cartoon?
Oh, just for the trip. It's also picturesque, and I love the donkeys and beads and things. I bought this yesterday. The man said it was a real sacred scarab. Is it?
The curious thing is that you couldn't buy one of these in Birmingham if you tried.
Is that where it comes from?
I always understood that they were made in Birmingham for the export trade, but it may be Sheffield.
I paid 5 piastres for it.
Anyway, it's a lovely specimen. So naive, if you know what I mean.
You buy postcards? Very nice beads, lapis.
Someone else is coming on board. I wonder if it's her.
You are expecting a friend.
Oh, no. I meant Mrs. Marston. She's on her honeymoon. Her father was the great financier. They say she's the richest girl in England.
That must be very bad for her.
No, not only is she rich, she's absolutely lovely. She's just made a romantic marriage. Imagine being rich and lovely and having everything in the world you want.
I'd rather not think of it. It makes me feel sick.
There have been pictures of her in all the papers.
Why should there be? Why should there be pictures of an idle, useless girl who's never done a hand's turn in her life? Bob, why not pictures of decent factory girls on the way to their day's work?
Who'd want to look at pictures of them? I wouldn't.
No proper sense of the dignity of labor.
Do you do such an awful lot of work yourself?
I'm studying conditions at the moment. I intend to work extremely hard.
Well, maybe when you do, you'll understand that there's such a thing as romance. And when a rich girl like Kay Ridgway, who might have married anybody, marries a young man with no money and very good looking, and they're on their honeymoon and going to be on the very same boat, it's just too thrilling for words.
I see. You have what used to be called a novelette mind.
There's no call to be rude.
Very nice bees, not bees, voilà.
9. I do not want them. They are very bad imitation. Very bad indeed. Very troublesome they are, these people. It is like the flies. All the time they are saying bakshish, bakshish. Dr. Besner,
William Smith, Miss?
France.
is this the first time you make upon the Nile this so agreeable voyage?
Yes, this is the first time I've ever been in Egypt.
There is in Egypt much of interest to be seen. The civilization of Egypt was fine, very fine. And owing to action of sand and dry climate, much has been preserved to us. We will make stops and go on shore, and interesting temples visited. My Baedeker, if you like, I'll lend you.
There's a thrilling offer for you.
Thank you, that's very kind of you.
A pleasure it will be.
Monsieur,
Mademoiselle, comment allez-vous?
c'est là.
Ah, luscious female with the glad eye. I'm glad somebody appreciates me.
I've got a much better cabin now. One next door for you is rather small, but sheltered quite well.
Present me, please.
Mr. Besser, my aunt.
Dr. Besner.
Not at all satisfied with that man says about the water. I sometimes suspect that they don't boil it. I bought it from Evian, but I sometimes think that they fill those up from the tap. They have to boil some. On the spirit lamp, Christina.
Yes, Aunt Helen, I'll do that.
You may unpack for me presently.
I'll go and do it now.
Certainly not. It's much better to leave the cases unlocked until the ship is underway. There's been some suspicious-looking characters about.
Just as you like.
And don't take out too much until we see whether the stewards are honest or not. Christine, you might have my life with Madame Recamier. Now, where are my glasses? Ah, here they are.
Well,
Nice bees,
here we are.
not bees.
What a frightful thing. Get rid of these
Very
creatures,
nice,
Simon.
very nice.
Get out.
Give them some
Get
money
out.
and tell them to go away.
Ah, Mr. and Mrs. Marston, welcome to Lotus. You'd like to see your cabins?
Has my maid got here?
Maid? Yes, she arrived half hour ago with your luggage.
Ah, there you are, Louise.
Oh, yes, madame. Everything is satisfactory, madame.
No difficulty in getting away.
Oh, no, monsieur. Everything was quite satisfactory.
Good.
Monsieur need not be uneasy.
Good.
I did everything, monsieur, just as monsieur told me.
Then that's all right. Shall we go and look at our cabins?
Yes, we'd better go see that they're all right. Take this, Louise.
It's quite like royalty.
Oh, isn't she lovely?
Pity they forgot the red carpet.
You like nice beads? You like postcards? All gentlemen like postcards. I'll show you.
Go away.
You like good donkey riding? I got very good donkey. My donkey whiskey and soda. That very good donkey.
No, you take my donkey, lady. Her donkey very bad donkey. That donkey fall down. My donkey whoop-a-daisy. My donkey very good donkey. You take my card. You have good donkey, not fall down. Hip-a-hooray, very good, very nice. God save the king.
Hurrah! Iplabara, Anazalem, Hawi!
I would my cabin like to see. Number 19, Dr. Besner.
Ah, welcome to Lotus. Very nice cabin. Very good. Get all afternoon sun. Come this way, please.
Christina, do try to have a little more savoir faire. I know you've not had many advantages in your upbringing, but don't try to rush into conversation with every person you meet. Foreigners in especial are very trying. They're much slower than an English person to see when they are not wanted.
Very nice beads, lapis.
Oh, those awful bead sellers are coming back again.
You ought not to be allowed on boat.
Well, they got another victim. Now, let's see what kind of fellow passenger we got. God, a parson.
A very ill-bred young man. Very warm, is it not?
Yes, indeed. A particularly owlish afternoon.
As we are fellow travelers, I must introduce myself. I am Miss Foley, folks, and this is my niece, Christina Grant.
Yes, indeed, these small ships are pleasant affairs. I am Canon Pennyfather.
One of the Yorkshire Pennyfathers.
The Shropshire branch. We shall have a most beautiful view as we go up the Nile. These observation saloons are excellent ideas.
Oh, I'd like it better if it hadn't got a roof.
You'd find the sun much too hot, my dear child, beating down upon your head.
You like beef, lapis, and mascara?
Nothing at all.
I show you postcards.
No.
I show you holy postcards. All Coptic church. Very early Christian. Very nice. Very holy.
Wonderful how persistent they are, and how they suit their wares to their company.
I got other postcards. Very nice.
Hooroo! Iplabara! Ah, Canon Pennyfather. Welcome to Lotus. You like to see your cabin? Best cabin. Best cabin on foot.
It's all the afternoon sun. Christina, I think I should go to my cabin.
Au revoir, Miss Grant. We shall meet again later.
I hope you won't think the young man was meaning to be rude who was here when you came in. I'm afraid you must have heard him. It's just a way he has. He doesn't really mean anything by it.
Some people dislike a clergyman traveling on a boat. They say it brings bad luck. But I doubt that will apply to our paddle streamer. Good day.
Christina!
Satisfied, my sweet?
Yes, oh yes, I'm going to enjoy this.
So am I.
Did you ask if there were any more passengers to come on board?
Yes, everyone's arrived.
Wonderful. Then the boat can start. Go and tell the captain or whoever it is to start at once.
Isn't that due to leave for half an hour?
Nonsense. Tell them to start now.
I suppose it has to run the schedule.
Not at all. It will just be a question of tip, that's all. You don't know the well as I do, Simon. It's usually just a question of how much.
I don't quite like doing that.
Don't be pig-headed, darling. I want to get off as soon as possible.
It's quite all right, Kay. Louise says so.
Louise isn't always as clever as she thinks she is.
I rather wish you'd get rid of her, Kay. She's got a nasty way of looking at you sometimes.
Probably hates me, though I don't see why. I give her heaps of things. But I couldn't possibly do without her. She's simply marvelous with my hair and nails and all that.
I'd be your lady's maid, Kay.
I wonder what I'd look like with your great clumsy fingers in my hair.
Nothing could prevent you looking the loveliest creature on God's earth. Enjoying your honeymoon?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going. Why, Uncle Ambrose!
Kay, my dear child, what an extraordinary surprise.
I thought you were in Palestine.
So I was last week.
I wrote to you, to the King David Hotel in Jerusalem. Didn't you receive my letter?
I changed my plans.
Then you don't know?
Know what?
That I'm married.
Married?
Yes, to Simon Marston. Simon, this is my guardian, Father's dearest friend, my Uncle Ambrose by courtesy.
I've heard a lot about you, sir.
We have never actually met, but I've seen you before.
Have you? So you never heard about our marriage?
No, it must have been very sudden.
Well, we didn't waste any time. I hope that you're not terribly hurt that we didn't wait for you to come back and marry us, but I didn't know how long your Holy Land tour is going to last. And I am over 21, so I hadn't to ask your legal consent. And I did write you a very nice letter telling you all about Simon and everything, which it seems was just wasted labor because you never got it.
I shall get it someday, I expect.
I thought it would be sure to catch you at the hotel in Jerusalem. But what a coincidence. You should be here on this boat.
My dear child, you know I've always said that I don't believe in such thing as chance.
Anyhow, it's lovely that you're here. And now you and Simon can have a drink together and make friends. I'm going to change. See you later, darling.
What will you have, sir? I gathered from what Kay said that you're not a teetotaler.
No, I am of the worldly order of clergy who enjoy the good things of this life. Take a little wine for thy stomach's sake has always struck me as sound advice.
I hope you won't mind my marrying Kay, sir. I mean, I hope you'll think I'm good enough for her. Not that I could ever really be that.
As I said before, I've seen you, Mr. Morstan.
Make it Simon, won't you, sir? You know, I don't quite remember where.
I doubt you would remember under the circumstances.
Did you ring, sir?
What will you have, sir?
Perhaps a gin fizz.
Make it 2. You were saying?
I was saying that I once saw you in a restaurant in London, the Chateau of Spagna. You were sitting at a table next to me. I could not help overhearing your conversation.
Yes.
You were with a very striking-looking girl, a dark girl. You were talking of a time to come when you would go on your honeymoon to Egypt.
Oh, I see. You feel that that needs some explanation?
Frankly, yes. It wasn't so very long ago.
Well, I suppose you think I married Kay for her money. Well, you're wrong. I'd have gone out to Kay to the world's end, even if she hadn't had a penny. Actually, though, sir, I'm quite glad you did see us together in the Chateau en Espagne. It makes it much easier for me to tell you the whole story. And God knows, I only want to tell to someone.
Yes.
The girl you saw me with was Jacqueline de Severac. I was engaged to her. She's also Kay's best friend.
I see.
Don't get me wrong now, sir. I hadn't met Kay then, but I had heard Jackie talk all about her. Seemed they'd been together at some snob school in Paris, and then Jackie's people lost all their money. They didn't see each other very often after that, but they did write, and Kay was just as fond of Jackie as ever. She would have given her heaps of things, only Jackie was too proud to take them. Well, there we were, both Paul's churchmice, and I had a job as well. Things were looking rather blue. And then Jackie heard that Kay's agent, who looked after her Yorkshire property, had died, and it seemed a marvelous chance for me. I'm good at that sort of thing. I'm country bred. So Jackie rushed off to Kay, and Kay, like a good sport she is, said of course she'd give Jackie's fiancé the job. So I took it. Cheerio.
And then?
That's what I've got to make you understand, sir. The moment I saw Kay, it was all over. I had loved Jackie in a kind of way, but when Kay came along, oh, it's like the moon when the sun comes out. You simply don't see the moon anymore.
I see.
Well, that's how it was. I tried to fight against it, but it was no good. And then when I found out she felt the same.
And Mr. Severac?
Jackie took it hard. Very hard indeed. Of course, I know I treated her very badly.
You and Kay?
Kay had nothing to do with it. I was just feeling restless, and then Kay came along and swept me right off my feet. It was also amazing. Everyone kowtowing her and everything. And then her singling out a poor fish like me.
I see.
Kay and I felt it was no good hanging about. We felt the sooner we got married, the better. We felt Jackie would get over it quicker that way.
A very convenient assumption. And did she?
She made certain threats, of course.
Threats?
She's half French, Latin bud. She talked a lot of melodramatic nonsense about shooting us both. Actually, I shouldn't have been surprised in her taking a pot shot at me, but I never thought she'd act in this sort of way.
In what way?
I'm telling this all awfully badly. Kay and I went on our honeymoon. We went to Venice. The first thing we saw when we got to Daniele's was Jackie there sitting in the lounge. For 1 minute or two, I thought there'd be trouble. But she was just as polite and just said what a coincidence it was that we were there in the hotel. Naturally, I thought it was a coincidence, just a bit of bad luck. So anyway, Kay and I felt we'd push on, so we caught an earlier boat from Trieste. Dash it! If we hadn't gotten aboard, Jackie wasn't there. It was damned awkward, sir. It really was.
Yes, I can imagine that.
Well, to come to the point, when we landed in Egypt, Kay and I were going up to the manor house. Jackie had said that she was going on to Luxor. But when we came down to dinner the first night, there she was, sitting in the restaurant.
Very unusual, yes, and ingenious.
I must admit, I absolutely saw red. After Afterwards, I went up to her and tackled her, accused her of following us around. She was as cool as a cucumber, though. Just expressed surprise at seeing us both, and I told her it had to stop.
And what did she have to say to that?
She said, but surely there's no law against a couple people stopping in the same hotel. And of course, she had me there. Kay kept saying that we had to take certain steps, but I don't really see that there are any steps one can take.
You told me just now that you and Jacqueline were as poor as church mice. How then does she meet the expenses of travel? They must be very heavy.
That's very clever of you. You know, I never thought of that. Jackie's about as poor as they make them. She's only got about 200 a year, so there's bound to be a time when she'll run out.
Yes, presumably her funds will run out, and she will become penniless. You don't like to think of that?
Well, I can't help it. If she'll start off on this crack-brained scheme, can't she see what an ass she's making of herself? Hadn't she got any pride, any dignity?
Pride and dignity are qualities we urge to act upon other people.
Well, what does she expect to get out of following me and Kay around like this?
Already she has caused you a great deal of annoyance and vexation, has she not?
It's got Kay absolutely raw, that's why.
Yes.
When we got to the manor house, she was there, of course, as you know. We got to Aswan, she followed us there. We went up to Luxor, and she's there again. Kay just couldn't stand any more of it, so we hitched up the scheme. We made out that we're going down to Cairo by steamer tomorrow. Then today, we went on a day's expedition to Philae. Meanwhile, Kay's maid got the baggage and made this boat ready for us. We borrowed a porter to tell Jackie that we're going down by train to Cairo.
Very elaborate.
So you see, there'll be nothing that she can do about it until after we've gone. She can only follow us by the next boat. Kay's idea is to fly on down from Khartoum down to East Africa, or maybe even the Cape.
Do you like this scheme, Simon?
No, I don't. For it's neither more nor less than running away. And that sticks in my gizzard. I feel such a coward, running away from a girl. But Kay.
Kay.
Kay's nerves are all shot to pieces. She feels she must get away. I'm awfully glad I told you all this, sir. I don't suppose you think much of me. But I do love Kay, and I'll always do every mortal thing she asks.
You mustn't do that sort of thing, Simon. You see, Kay has had everything she's always wanted. You must stand up to her.
Well, here I am. Got a drink for me? Have you persuaded Uncle Ambrose that you're the right husband for me?
He says I ought to beat you.
How discerning of you. Oh, what fun this is going to be.
The sunsets here are very wonderful.
There's hardly anybody on board. Late in the season, of course. We shall practically have the boat to ourselves. We can do just what we like.
That will be no novelty to you, Kay.
What will you have?
A sherry.
A sherry and 2 gin fizzes.
Oh, no, I don't think I...
Oh, yes, you do.
Well, perhaps this once.
A sherry and 2 gin fizzes.
I'd like £1,000, Kay.
£1,000?
A conscience money.
Don't look so surprised, darling. Uncle Ambrose always does these sort of things. He's a kind of moral gangster.
I don't understand.
You see, Kay has far too much money for her own good, and there are far too many people with not enough money for their good. So I try to readjust the balance. Blank check form, please. I do not ask for alms. I demand them. I find it more successful. Pen. You see, a young lady or man signs a check and then goes to the Berkeley for lunch. They seem to feel that it helps in digestion. Don't forget to put the branch of bank. They also seem to feel that they have reserved a front stall in heaven.
You really are the most cynical clergyman I know. You don't even say thank you.
Why should I? I'm only helping you to make a very good investment.
Well, here's to our trip.
Come now, Kay, sign please.
£1,000 is a lot of money.
It won't do much, but it will do something.
Uncle Ambrose has some wonderful scheme for rebuilding a New England, self-supporting communities and industries. A kind of Christianized Soviet, it seems to me.
You understand nothing about it, my dear, but you have your part in this scheme, the lowest part, is supplying funds.
I don't see how you ever get any money at all when you're so rude.
That, my dear child, shows you how much you know about psychology. £500?
50% of what you've asked for is pretty good going.
Well, all's grist to the mill, to Jerusalem.
Jerusalem?
And I shall build Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant lands.
Oh dear.
Don't look so surprised, darling. It's only Uncle Ambrose on his hobby horse again.
Hello, Kay. How surprising. I thought you and Simon were going down over to Cairo. I never expected to find you here.
You didn't.
Jackie, come on.
Yes, Simon, you look hot. It is hot, isn't it?
It's the glass in here. Makes it very hot, I think.
Now come on, you can't keep on doing this.
I don't know what you mean. I thought the trip up to the Second Cataract sounded so interesting.
You can't keep on doing this sort of thing, you know?
But, Simon, surely you and Kay were going to Cairo tomorrow. Everybody in the hotel was saying so.
Sometimes one alters one's plans.
Yes, I altered mine.
Come now, stop this sort of thing. It's so utterly unreasonable.
I don't know what you're talking about, Simon. This seems a nice boat. I shall enjoy my trip, especially now that I've found friends on board. I must find out where my cabin is.
Ah, Mr. Severa, welcome to Lotus. This way, please.
Simon, there's still time. We could get off.
And if we only did, she'd follow us. Can't it make you see that running away only plays into our hands? We've got to stand firm and see it out.
Yes, I guess you're right. Simon, go to the other end of the boat, or to the cabin or something. I want to speak to Uncle Ambrose.
I've already told him all about it.
Good, that will save time. You'll crack my song. Go, darling. Uncle Ambrose, you've got to help me.
In what way?
Simon's told you all about this terrible persecution. Jackie is making herself utterly ridiculous. But all the same, it's got to be stopped. You've got to stop it.
Indeed. How do you suggest I go about it?
Talk to her. Show her what a fool she is making of herself. Threaten her. Tell her we shall take proceedings.
But she has every right to travel in this boat, Kay.
Appeal to her. Appeal to her pride and her self-respect. Show her how undignified it is to go on running after a man who doesn't want her.
What makes you think that she will listen to me?
People do listen to you, Uncle Ambrose. You've got something about you that makes them listen.
I am to appeal to her better nature.
Yes, get her to give up this silly persecution.
Why do you mind so much, Kay?
Wouldn't anybody? It's maddening. I simply can't stand it.
But you will have to stand it, won't you?
What do you mean?
That there is no way out. You can bear these things well, or you can bear them badly. But you cannot refuse to bear something that exists, and that you cannot alter.
When we get to Wadi Halfa, I'll charter an aeroplane. We'll fly off into the wilds.
The fugitives. Come and sit down, Kay. What is it that you are running away from?
But you know!
Oh, yes, I know. I'm waiting for you to face facts.
I haven't the least idea of what you mean.
Don't you? Well, I shall ask my question again. Why do you mind so much?
Because it's intolerable.
Quite. And yet there are other ways of looking at it. You might feel just annoyed, or you might feel pity for a friend whom you've loved has been hurt so badly as to throw all conventions aside. But this thing has gotten right underneath your skin. It's yourself you're running away from, Kay. You've had a good life. You've been kind and generous, and have always had good reason to think well of yourself. Naturally, you don't like to feel guilty.
What do you mean by guilty?
And the Lord sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, There were 2 men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. And the rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had, save but one little ewe lamb. And the rich man took the poor man's ewe lamb.
It wasn't like that at all.
And David said to Nathan, as long as the Lord liveth, so shall this man die. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man.
It wasn't like that at all, I tell you. Simon and Jackie weren't the least bit suited for each other. He realized that as soon as he met me. What did you want him to do? Go on with it? Make 3 lives miserable? He couldn't have made Jackie happy if he wasn't happy himself.
A convenient assumption, always assumed.
Isn't it always better to rectify a mistake before it's too late? The only common sense thing to do was for Simon to tell Jackie the truth. You'd think that if she was so fond of him, she'd want to put his happiness first.
How very young you are, Kay.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Nothing. You cared a great deal for Jackie, didn't you?
Yes, she was my dearest friend in school.
And she to you?
Yes.
And she came to you for help, to ask you to give a job to the man that she loved, so that they could get married.
Yes.
You've always had everything you wanted, haven't you, Kay? But of course, there's never been any reason why you shouldn't. But there was a reason this time.
What are you trying to say? You're blaming me for everything.
I'm trying to say that there was a time in the very beginning when you could have stopped. You see, Simon Marston attracted you, and he was dazzled by you. You could have held your hand, Kay. You could have said to yourself, this is Jackie's man, and I am Jackie's friend. But like King David, you stretched out your hand and took the poor man's ewe lamb.
You're dreadfully unfair.
Simon Marston is a very weak man. I believe you are the initiative behind him.
Well, what does all that matter now? One can't go back. The past is the past.
Exactly. The past conditions the future.
Well, what am I going to do about all this?
I don't think there's much that you can do, Kay.
You mean I'll have to put up with it?
It seems so.
And you won't help me?
I don't know if it is you who I want to help. There is someone else that I would rather help.
I don't understand your attitude.
A question for you, Kay, as a matter of curiosity. Why, since you are running away.
What do you mean by...
Running away? Why didn't you hire a private launch? Certainly Jacqueline could not have followed you on that.
Of course I thought of that. I'm not a perfect idiot. But it's Simon. You have no idea of the trouble I've had. He makes the most extraordinarily nasty weather just because I'm the one with all the money. As if it mattered which of us has it.
Oh, but it does, from a man's point of view.
Anyhow, Simon has been very difficult. He hates the idea of what he calls living on me. The only thing that would appease him at all would be that at any rate this honeymoon should be what he calls his show. So I gave in, and he hasn't let me spend a penny. He'd got shares or something that he sold out, and the poor dear's been so happy that I haven't had the heart to protest. But a private launch simply would have been out of the question for him to pay for, and I simply didn't dare suggest that I pay for it.
I think a good deal better of your Simon for taking that stand.
Well, I think it's very stupid, as if money mattered.
But it doesn't to you, because you've always had it.
Why are you so against me? I think you're most unkind.
Bit of a change from the King David Hotel, eh?
Possibly.
I expect you did yourself pretty well there amongst the flesh pots. I noticed you there. Perhaps it was your double, sitting near one of those pillar things, opening a great wad of mail.
A very observant young man, aren't you?
I usually recognize a face and a figure.
Touché.
Perhaps you don't understand what I'm getting at.
Oh, no, you make your point perfectly clear.
You parsons are all the same. I have no use for you.
You young men are all the same. But we do have a use for you.
Must admit you've got a nerve. It's getting too hot in here.
In 1 or 2 minutes we start. We shall be coming up on what the old Egyptians call the hidden horizon.
The hidden horizon.
I would like to speak to you, Jacqueline.
I'm sure you would. Well, let's get on with it. I know who you are, of course. Kay has often talked of you. You're supposed to have the gift of eloquence. Go on, I'm waiting. Will I be a good girl and leave dear, persecuted Kay alone? That's it, isn't it?
I would have put it differently.
I'm sure you would. It wouldn't be as crude as that.
Do you think you know what I'm going to say?
I'm sure of it.
I wonder. Well, what I have to say to you is this. Bury your dead.
What?
Bury your dead. Give up the past. Turn to the future. What is done and cannot be undone. And bitterness certainly won't undo it. You're very young. Time will heal you.
You're quite wrong. I'm not suffering. I'm enjoying myself. Did you see their faces when I came on board? Oh yes, I'm enjoying myself.
That is the worst part of it.
You're quite harsh about my little amusements, aren't you? But then they upset dear Kay, so I must give them up.
I'm not worried about Kay. What you are doing will do her absolutely any harm at all. What you are doing is harming yourself.
My soul?
To your soul. You're afraid of the worst. I'm not. I beg of you, Jacqueline, give up this journey, get off this boat, and make a new life for yourself.
You don't understand. Simon is my life. We loved each other.
I know how much you cared for him.
We loved each other, I tell you, and I trusted Kay. I'd never even been jealous of all she had, and I hadn't. All her life, Kay has been able to buy everything she wanted. She's never denied herself anything. When she saw Simon, she wanted him, and she just took him.
And he allowed himself to be bought.
No, that's not true. Simon didn't marry Kay for her money. But there's such a thing as the glamour money gives. Kay has an atmosphere. Do you wonder it went to his head? Look out there. Soon the moon will be up, quite plain to see. But when the sun shines, you can't see the moon anymore. I was the moon. When the sun came out, Simon couldn't see me anymore.
Is that how...
He was dazzled. He could only see the sun, Kay. Yes, glamour, she went to his head. There's a complete assurance, too. She's so sure of herself, she makes other people sure. Simon was weak, perhaps, but then he's always been very simple. He would have loved me and me only if Kay hadn't come along.
Does he still love you now?
One for you. You don't hit softly, do you?
I'm afraid for you.
Afraid?
Yes. What you're doing is very dangerous.
Not as dangerous as what I once thought of doing. Do you know how I felt when it first happened?
J.S.
Nice little thing. Looks like a toy, but a bullet from it would kill a man or woman, and I'm a good shot. At first I meant to kill one or other of them, not both. That wouldn't have been satisfactory. If I thought Kay would have looked frightened, but she wouldn't. She's got plenty of physical courage. And then I thought I'd wait. After all, I could do it any time. It would be more fun to wait and think about it. And then this idea came into my mind, to follow them. Whenever they arrived at some faraway spot and were together and happy, they should see me. And it worked. It got Kay badly in a way nothing else could have done. And that was when I began to enjoy myself. And there's nothing she can do about it. I'm always perfectly pleasant and polite. And it's poisoning everything. Everything for him.
Quiet. Quiet, I tell you.
Why should I?
Because that is the way the devils in hell laugh.
I'm in hell, all right.
Do not open your heart to evil, Jackie, for if you do, evil will come.
Isn't evil rather a strong word?
It is the only word.
You can't stop me.
No, I cannot.
Even if I wanted to kill her, you couldn't stop me.
No.
Is it wrong to want to kill someone who's taken away everything you had in the world? Is it? Is it?
Yes.
You should approve of my present scheme of revenge. For as long as it works, I shan't have to use this pistol. But sometimes I'm afraid.
What are you afraid of?
Sometimes everything goes red. I want to hurt her. I want to stick a knife into her. I want to put my dear little pistol close up against her head and then just press that trigger so.
We are casting off. I beg of you, Get off this boat. Give up this journey.
I almost wish I could.
But you can't. There is always a point when one can turn back. This is your moment.
We start now. Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim.
What was that he said?
What most Mohammedans say before the start of a journey. To Allah, the compassionate, the merciful.
I wish you hadn't been on board. I can't stand any more of it.
No, Kay, we've got to go through with it.
Yes, we've got to go through with it.
And how was the temple by moonlight?
It was marvelous, quite different. The scenes on the walls of great interest are the march of Egyptian army under Ramesses to Kedash on North Wall, also leading by the king before the Karakte of many prisoners, while temple, of course, was dedicated to Ra Karakte and Aman-Ra, god for peace.
Thank you, our doctor.
While you have been enjoying yourself, Christina, I've been put to serious inconvenience. Where is my scarf?
You had it before dinner, Aunt Helen, in here.
Well, it isn't here now.
Maybe it's in your cabin?
I'm not aware that scarves have legs, Christina. I brought it in here.
Maybe the steward took it there while you were down at dinner. I'll go and see.
Don't rush off like that. Take my glasses and my knitting and my little shawl. There's no reason I should carry everything myself.
That's what I always say. If you own a dog's body, keep it on the run.
Perhaps you wouldn't mind getting off my knitting.
Sorry.
Social barriers makes people so clumsy with their...
Bullying old bit. Harridan.
Oh, I must go to bed.
One moment, Kay. You said that you would sign the transfers tonight. I have them here.
Can't they wait till tomorrow morning?
This morning you said that they could wait till this evening. It'll only take a moment, and I must get them off to Wadi Halfa.
You're not going to read the whole thing through, are you?
I always read everything through. Father taught me to. He said one never knew when a clerical error might have crept in.
Clerical error, that's good.
Kay is an excellent woman at business.
I'm awfully bad. I've never read through a legal document in my life. I wouldn't understand them if I did. I just sign with a dotted line like I'm told.
Indeed.
Well, you can't go through the world thinking everyone's going to do you down. I found it pays to trust people.
Father never trusted anybody. The only man he believed in was Uncle Ambrose. That's why he made him my guardian and trustee of my capital until I was 25 or married. Father said lawyers knew too much about how to evade the law.
Mellowish Ridgway was an excellent man at the economy, but he put little faith in his fellow man.
Perhaps rightly.
He, though, did have an excellent thing at the economy, he little knew the subterfuges at which the clergy would descend to get money for their pet causes.
I guess I've actually come into my capital now, haven't I, Uncle Ambrose? I could make my will and leave it all to your better and brighter England scheme.
You could, but I doubt you would invest your money in that good fashion.
Why not?
Because the dividends are not payable in this world.
I wonder what it would feel like to be really poor.
Don't worry. You'll never know.
Are you all so sure of that? Patience of the workers won't last forever.
Oh, don't let's be political.
Perhaps these had better wait till tomorrow morning.
I simply can't take in anything. Good night, Uncle Ambrose. You're right about facing things. I've gotten over my silly attack of nerves. Good night, darling. Good night, Jackie. It is really rather heavenly on this boat, isn't it?
Good night, Mr. Severak.
She doesn't care. Neither of them cares. I can't reach them. They've got beyond me. They don't mind if I'm here or not. I can't hurt them anymore.
Do you still want to hurt them?
They shan't be happy together. They shan't. I'll stop it somehow.
You should have never come aboard.
Yes, you're right. I think you're right. But it's too late. I can't go back. I've got to go on.
You're very tired. It has been a very long and hot day. You must go to bed and get some rest.
I couldn't sleep.
But you could.
No, it's too hot, too still. It's the kind of evening when things snap. Steward! Bring me a double brandy.
You will excuse me, please, but is your wife and the daughter of Melhuish Ridgway?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Is there any reason why you should know?
You will excuse me. That man. That man.
Hold on. Am I right in thinking that one of Melhuish's financial operations has at some time affected you personally?
You will forgive me, gentlemen, but I have very strong feelings. In my country in Europe, a small country, an obscure country, that man, he buys the politicians, he corrupts the government. And those who get the concessions, you understand, it's not that they wish to develop it. On the contrary, the people, the peasants, they starve. The ore, you see, it would be a rival, and that must not be. Instead, all is desolate, deserted. And we who believe in it, we lose all we had. We are finished, wiped out. My father, an old man and feeble, he dies with their heart broken. But it is not the non-progress. It is the industry that is not yet developed. You understand?
Frankly, old boy, no. But I do get the general idea. International finance, like some obscene spider up to its usual tricks. An old man Ridgway sitting in his office in London with a big cigar right in the center of the web. No offense, Marston. Melhuish Ridgway's methods are pretty common knowledge, and even his handsome donations can't take away the taste of them.
Oh, that's all right by me. I never even met my father-in-law. He was dead years before I met Kay. I do suppose these financial birds sail fairly close to the wind. I don't know much about finance myself. Often wish I did.
The little man in the back street, he would be sent to prison. But the big man with the cigar, he can rob and cheat and stay inside the law.
It won't be so forever.
They too should suffer. Yes, suffer. You will excuse me, I'm upset.
What have you been saying to upset poor Dr. Bessner?
Me? I like that. Nothing at all. And why should you defend him?
He's a foreigner, and foreigners are very sensitive. Their feelings are easily hurt.
And what about my feelings? Your aunt taunted me this evening with my inferior social position.
Oh, you must forgive Aunt Helen. It's been a tiring day for her, and the dust and sand affect her eyes.
Darkness falls from the sky. Dust has closed Helen's eye. I wish it would.
Steward! Bring me another brandy.
Get me a pink gin. Christina,
I wouldn't mind a lemonade.
it's too tame. Make it a gin fizz. What about you, Marston?
No thanks.
He was a man and he done her wrong.
A lovely evening, isn't it? Beautiful moonlight.
Yes, a real honeymoon night.
The Drago man, he was telling me earlier about the Egyptian goddess, the one that said to hold up the sky. Seems they call her Mut. Seems an odd name for a goddess.
Why, she isn't much to hold up the sky. Let it crash. Come, sit with me, Christina. We'll drink together.
Really, though, it is getting rather late. I'd better go to bed.
Nonsense. The night is yet young. I want you to tell me about yourself. Well, here's to crime. You can bring me another.
And speaking of crime, I think something should be banned about your aunt of yours. A nice little dose of arsenic.
You're very rude about my aunt.
You can't tell me you like the woman,
She's been very good to me, bringing me abroad and everything.
including treating you as a slave. Don't you have any spirit? Don't you know you're just as good as she is?
Oh, but I'm not.
You just mean that she's rich and you're poor.
Not at all. Aunt Helen is highly educated and very cultured.
Ha, culture, education. They mean nothing at all.
You know, I believe it's your digestion that's wrong. My Aunt Helen was once ordered a special kind of pepsin. Would you like me to go get some of it for you to try? Perhaps it would make you better tempered and better mannered.
What's wrong with my manners?
They're just atrocious.
In that case, I'll wish you good night.
Good night, I'm going to bed myself.
No, you can't go. I won't let you go. I want someone to talk to. Sit here and tell me about yourself.
There's really not much to tell.
Have another drink?
No, thank you. I've lived in Edinburgh all my life. I've got one sister and two brothers. I work at an insurance office there, and I've always wanted to travel. When Aunt Helen brought me on this trip, I could hardly believe it at first. It was like a dream coming true. I'm just loving every minute of it.
You're a happy sort of person, aren't you? God, I'd like to be you.
Oh, no, but I mean...
What do you mean? Shall I tell you the story of my life? Simon would rather I didn't. Going to run away, Simon?
It's getting late.
Just the right time of night for telling hard luck stories. Or good luck stories like Christina's. Why hasn't your aunt ever taken you abroad before? Why does she make you slave away in an office?
Oh, that's a family affair. Aunt Helen's sister married, you see, as Aunt Helen considered beneath her. That was my grandmother. Aunt Helen's my great-aunt. My father was a very proud man, and he kept up the quarrel until recently.
Quite romantic, isn't it, Simon? I like you, Christina. I like you very much. You won't go away and leave me, will you? I'm feeling very low tonight. You won't leave me, will you?
I'm thinking we all need some sleep.
Steward! Get the steward, will you, Simon? I want another drink.
The stewards have all gone to bed. It's after midnight.
I tell you, I want another drink.
You've had quite enough drinks, Jackie.
What damn business is of yours?
None.
Really,
What's the matter? Are you afraid? No, you can't. Do you know what Simon over there is afraid of? He's afraid I'm going to tell you the story of my life.
Cut it out, Jackie. You're drunk. Go to bed.
It's a very sad story. He and I were engaged, you see. He was was a man and he'd done her wrong. He treated me rather badly. Didn't you, Simon?
Jackie, you're drunk. For God's sake, go to bed.
You're embarrassed. You'd better leave the room.
I'm staying.
Really, I'd better leave.
I forbid you to go. You're to stay and hear what I've got to say.
Jackie, stop making a damn fool of yourself and go to bed.
You're afraid of a scene, aren't you? That's because you're so English, so reticent. You expect me to behave decently. Decently, like a prep schoolboy. That's all you are, a great, overgrown schoolboy. You better get out of here quickly, because I'm going to talk a lot. You damn fool! Do you think you can treat me as you've done and get away with it? Answer me! Can't you answer me? I told you I'd kill you. You don't think I meant that? You're wrong. I've only been waiting. Just waiting. You're my man, do you hear? You belong to me. I told you I'd kill you, and I meant it. Answer me! Can't you answer me?
For God's sake, Jackie, you're making a damn fool of yourself. Go to bed.
I'm making a fool of myself, am I?
Yes.
I'll kill you. I'll kill you. I'll shoot you like a dog. Like the dirty dog you are. Ah! No! 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 Simon! No!
Hello. What's up?
No!
What happened?
Christina! No!
Hush, dear, hush.
It's all right. I'm only bleeding a bit. For God's sake, get her out of here. Get her outside.
What did happen?
I shot him! Oh my God, I shot him! I didn't mean...
Get her outside.
I'll kill
Get out of
myself!
here. Don't leave her.
I'll kill myself!
I'm all right. Just feeling a bit sick.
Please, Simon!
Quiet, Jackie, quiet.
Where is he then? How?
Mon Dieu! What is it? What has happened?
Damn! Now keep calm. There's just been a little accident.
An accident? To monsieur?
Now, listen, Louise. We don't want any fuss about this. Understand? Ow!
Nasty. Very nasty.
Shall I fetch madame?
No.
Now look here, my dear. There's no cause to get upset. You've got to be sensible. I'm sure you're a very sensible girl.
Oh, monsieur, I was so afraid. I thought perhaps it was arising at the Alps. They come to murder us all. My heart, it was in my mouth.
There. It's all very simple. We were just playing with the pistol, not realizing it was loaded. It's quite stupid of us, but there it is.
Oh, but they are so dangerous. Pistols.
They certainly are.
Yeah, it is a nasty wound. The bone is injured, and there has been loss of blood. It will be best, I think, if Mr. Marston is got to my cabin. There is a second berth there, and I can watch after him. The wound must be properly dressed. You will have to get for me boiling water so I can sterilize my instruments.
Sounds most alarming.
Not so. Much cannot be done here. I can but patch, you understand? It is to hospital you must go. But have no fear. For 2-3 weeks you lie still, and after that you walk as well as ever.
Nice way of spending your honeymoon. Thank goodness Kay hasn't woken up. She needn't know anything about this till morning.
I did not hear the shot myself. Or rather, there are so many shots on the shore, and the jackals and the drums. Ah, but it is noisy here in the desert.
Can I get Monsieur his things from his cabin?
Yes, do. My pajamas and my washing things. And make sure not to wake up Madame next door.
I understand, monsieur. I will be very quiet.
How's Jackie?
I have given her a sedative injection, a strong one. Already she has calmed down. In half hour she will sleep.
Good. Poor kid, she didn't really know what she was doing. She was sauced. She's been drinking all evening.
We can fix up some story or another. Pity that French girl heard the row, but I dare say we can manage to shut her mouth. You can see she smells a rat already.
Will you make sure we get that pistol before we forget it, won't you, Smith? It's over there, by that window. You're right there, where you are.
I can't see any signs of it.
But it must be there. I saw her drop it. It must maybe roll under something, yeah.
There's no pistol here.
But it must be there. I saw her drop it.
Well, it's
I heard
not.
it fall.
Well, it's not here now. Perhaps Christina picked it up.
No, I don't think so. No, she couldn't have. She was holding on to Jackie.
Well, somebody must have picked it up. Perhaps Jackie herself did.
No, She didn't, no.
Now, Mr. Marston, we get you to my cabin. Mr. Smith, you go that side. Your arms under his legs. Right. Now lift.
Tell us.
I went to Mr. Cabin to get his things. The door said that cabin was ajar, so I moved very quietly not to wake her. But then I smelled something. It is the same smell as it is in here. The smell says when a gun is fired.
Yeah?
And it comes from Dad's cabin. So I go in. I go across to her bed. She lies there on her side. I think it is all right. But I listen and there's no breathing, you understand? So I switch on the light and I see Madame in the top of the head. There's a big rat hole here.
What is it? What has happened? Who's been screaming?
Mrs. Marston has been shot.
Shot?
Jackie's killed Kay.
We must go and see. You will come?
At once.
Kay.
This someone's been shot. Mrs. Marston. Dead? The doctor has gone to see.
Oh, this is a very bad business. A thing like this has never happened before. I'm at a loss to know the correct procedure.
Are you in charge?
I am, but as I say, a thing like this has never occurred before. Miss Marston's a very important person, which doesn't make it easier. Is it known who shot the lady?
I'm afraid so.
I see. I was about to observe that no one from shore could have come on board. There's always a guard stationed on the bank.
Do you expect trouble?
Oh, nothing, but possibly some petty pilfering, that's all. But it means that no one could have come aboard unobserved.
Well?
Kay has been shot through the right temple.
Not very long ago. Perhaps 5 minutes. Perhaps 20 minutes, no longer. The pistol was held close against her head. That is clearly seen by the scorching of the skin.
I want to put my pistol close against her head, pull the trigger, so.
Who says that?
I think you can guess. Mr. Severek said it to me before we left the law.
Kay. She wanted to get off this boat if I'd only gone with her and I'd agreed with her. But I made her stick it out to see it through.
Don't harrow yourself over the past, Simon. You could have possibly not have known what was going to happen.
But I knew Jackie.
You think Jackie shot Kay?
But of course. I mean, who else could it be? You don't think... No, it couldn't be suicide. Kay would never.
No. Kay has been shot with a small caliber pistol, and the pistol has been taken away.
It was, I should say, the same pistol which fired this. This is the bullet which threw Mr. Marston's leg past and was lodged in the chair.
You must be right. Perhaps I was dreaming. Perhaps Jackie did pick up the pistol, or else maybe she never did drop it.
You still think Jacqueline shot Kay?
You said that before, sir. Is there any doubt?
I would only like to remind you, Simon, that you are accusing someone unheard. Jacqueline has not had a chance to explain herself. Where is she?
Mr. Smith came to me. He told me that the girl shot Mr. Marston through the leg and was now in hysterics. I went with him to her cabin, where I found her with Miss Grant trying to calm her. I gave her a strong injection.
It would make her sleep.
Yeah, but not at once. There would be an interval of, say, a half hour.
So, I suppose, as soon as she's left her alone, she crept along the deck, picked up the pistol, and shot Kay. She's not really responsible, you know. She's been drinking all evening. It's all my fault. The whole bloody business. Oh, I'm the one to blame.
Has anything happened?
Has anything happened? Has anything happened? That's funny. Damn funny.
Quiet, Mr. Marston, quiet.
Thanks, Bessner. Sorry.
All this for you is very bad. I will give you now an injection.
I won't have it. Do you think I want to sleep now?
What is it?
Kay has been shot.
Shot? In her cabin? But that's quite close to mine. I might have been murdered.
A mistake was made.
I call it disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Proper safeguards should be taken. Natives ought not to be allowed on the boat.
Nobody came aboard, Miss Folio, folks.
Nobody.
Nobody.
But then...
Surely if your cabin is that next to Mrs. Marston's, You must have heard the shot.
But I did not hear anything.
I see.
Where is Christina? And to say the least you could do is to come and look after me. After all, I might have had a serious heart attack with a shot. I might have been murdered.
Isn't she in her cabin?
No.
Dr. Bessemer, will you please go to Mr. Severak's cabin and bring her here?
Certainly.
Thank you.
I suppose my niece has been murdered and her body flung overboard.
I do believe that there is probably a less melodramatic explanation for the whole thing.
Nothing can excuse her heartless conduct in not going to look after me.
I think that Christina might not even know that a murder has occurred on board. Where do you sleep, Louise?
Pardon?
Je vous demande, mademoiselle, où est votre cabine?
My cabin, monsieur. This is next to that of Madame Austin. Beyond, you comprehend?
Next door. Then surely you must have heard the shot.
Oh, yes, I heard this shot. But I wake up and do not know what it is I hear. So I come along the deck and I find here, monsieur, shot through the leg. So naturally, monsieur, I think it is that shot that I hear.
And you heard nothing outside of your cabin?
No, I hear nothing.
And you saw nothing?
But what should I see, monsieur?
I am asking you.
I heard footsteps pass my cabin, light, quick footsteps.
But just now you told me that you heard absolutely nothing.
I know, but... You wicked, heartless girl, where have you been?
Auntie, what's happened? What's happened now? I had to stay with Mr. Severak. She was not well, and I did not like to leave her.
How long were you with her?
I did not leave her, not since you and I got her to a cabin. And then, when you went to get Dr. Bessner, I stayed there, as you know. And then after he gave her the injections, she did not seem to want to be left alone, so I stayed there.
Is that true? By God, is that true?
I'm not in the habit of telling lies, Mr. Mostyn. I don't know what you mean.
Don't be offended, Christina, but it's frightfully important. When Kay left the saloon in here, Jackie was here, wasn't she?
Yes.
And she did not leave until she left with you, is that right?
Yes.
And since that time, you've not left her? Not for a moment?
That's right.
Thank God.
What's the matter?
Kay
What are you talking about?
has been shot.
Kay has been shot? You mean she's dead? I see. You thought I'd shot her, but I didn't. I didn't.
We know that you didn't, Jackie.
I can't seem to take it all in my head. I'm so sleepy. Simon, I didn't shoot Kay.
That's all right, dear. That's all right.
It's you I shot.
That doesn't matter. Now listen, stay awake for a moment now, and try to remember what you did with the pistol after you shot me.
I dropped it over there.
Take her back to her cabin. She is nearly unconscious now.
Come along, dear.
Now, Mr. Mostyn, I insist you let me give you a hypodermic. You are in pain, and you now have some fever.
I won't have it. Do you hear? Don't you know? My wife has been murdered. Murdered. It's incredible. It's fantastic, but it's true. Someone who crept along the deck and heard the scene between me and Jackie and thought that Jackie would take the rap. Isn't that true, sir? Isn't it?
Yes, a very new and serious problem has arisen. But I do believe that we will have to wait for the police.
That's right, sir. What's the matter for the police? I've just sent a fast launch who's here to Water Harfley. The police will arrive and take charge tomorrow morning. In the meantime, we shall stay put. Actually obliged if you yourself, sir, will take charge until then.
I do find that to be a very sensible suggestion.
Very good, sir. Then I will leave you now. I shall interview the crew and stalls right away. to find out if they have seen anything or heard anything. I don't suppose any of you gentlemen speak Arabic. Right, then you best leave that part to me. See you gentlemen later. Ibn Baha.
This is all very distressing, Canon. I think as there's nothing I can do, I should go to my cabin and try to sleep.
One moment, Miss Folliot-Brooks. Anything that anyone has seen or heard this evening is of great importance. You said that you heard light footsteps outside of your cabin. Do you know what time that was?
I really could not say.
Do you know what direction they were going?
I really could not tell you.
Thank you. Good night.
What a draft that is. It is cold at night here in the desert.
You don't think that old woman could have killed Kay? No, that's impossible. Why should she?
I think it best if we all explained exactly what we did after Mrs. Marston left us this evening.
I wasn't here. Beston left soon after you did. Smith after that.
Dr. Besner?
I went straight to my cabin. I undressed. I was in my bunk when Mr. Smith came to rouse me and told me that Mr. Severac shot Mr. Marston and was now in hysterics.
You never left your cabin before that?
No.
You never went to the port side of the deck?
Certainly not.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
Quite the examining magistrate, aren't you?
Unfortunately, I do not have the powers of one.
Well, conceding you for the moment the divine right to ask questions. I left the saloon about 5 minutes before Jackie started her shooting stunt. She was working up for it nicely with dollops of brandy and a bit of crooning. It got quite embarrassing. I cleared out by that door. I did not spring round the deck and shoot Kay for the good reason that Jackie had tight hold of that pistol. I strolled along the deck and listening to the howling of the jackals and the singing of some Bedouin. I don't know which made the worst noise. Then I heard a commotion. I heard Christina give a nice, controlled, sensible Scottish version of a scream, and I came hurrying in. After that, I have an alibi, being in the company of Dr. Besner, Jackie, and Christina.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
I have no divine right to ask questions. I'm going to ask you, Canon Penfather, where you went after you left the saloon.
I went back to my cabin.
Just like Dr. Besner.
Yes.
But you didn't go to bed.
No, I stayed up reading. Where did you say Jacqueline had dropped the pistol, Simon?
Over there. Over by that window there. Right where you are.
Were you in a great deal of pain, Simon?
Yes.
Do you remember if you left your eyes open or shut?
I felt about a bit faint. I leant forward and closed my eyes. It's rather idiotic, but the sight of blood makes me feel rather peculiar.
Quite. Then it is quite possible that somebody snuck in and picked up the pistol without you ever seeing or hearing it.
Oh yes, easily.
Someone who might have been outside on the deck and overheard the whole entire commotion that led up to the final outburst.
Monsieur?
Come here, Louise. Have you been telling us the truth, my girl?
Oh, monsieur, how can you doubt?
I do doubt. What do you know about this crime?
Nothing, monsieur. Nothing at all. Ah, you accuse me, a respectable girl. I swear to you.
Stop telling me stories, Louise, and just tell me this truth.
Oh, Madame Mustine, she was so beautiful. She was so young. How could anyone do such a thing? She had such spirit. Everyone loved her.
Stop babbling. Did you hear or see this evening?
But what should I see, monsieur? Naturally, if I had looked out of my cabin in time, I should have seen this monster, this assassin, whatever he was, leave Madame's cabin. I should know then who he was. But what can I say? What can I do?
Oh, calm down, Louise. No one's accusing you of anything. I'll look after you.
Monsieur is too kind.
Just tell exactly what you saw and did tonight. That's all the canon wants to know.
Well, Madame had told me I could go to bed.
she would not want me, as she might be sitting up late. So I went to my cabin about 10. I made myself my tea of chamomile as usual, but somehow it tasted bitter, not good. The heat, perhaps, so I threw it away. Then I went to bed. I could not sleep, though. It was too hot. The little flies in the sand, they stung me. I put some flint about, and again I tried to go to sleep.
And after that?
After that? Nothing. There was much noise. Sisters Adams, they do not seem to sleep. Ah, it was that Adams was there. Undead cat, who crept on board and killed Madame. They have the hot blood. They hate perhaps these fair English women who are so arrogant.
Did you hate your mistress, Louise?
Why, monsieur, I was devoted to Madame.
I wonder.
Oh, this is an outrage. This is infamy.
Oh, calm down, Louise. Go up and go to bed. We'll talk to you in the morning.
Very well, monsieur. Good night, monsieur. Good night. It was a joke, was it not, what you said? Some jokes are very funny. That one was not.
Yes, and some jokes are very dangerous.
Yes, they are dangerous.
What did I tell you? It is the shark. Help me. We must get him to my cabin.
Steward! They'll help you. I want to speak to Ken Penfather.
What is it, Mr. Smith?
I hope he's all right. Wouldn't suit your books too well if he pegged out, would it?
What do you mean?
I mean that whereas Kay was the type who would read every document before signing it. Simon is a trusting fellow who's content to sign on the dotted line.
I don't think I quite understand you, Mr. Smith.
You think that because I play the fool, I can't be serious? I'm serious now. Murder doesn't amuse me.
I'm glad to hear it.
I was wrong about you. I thought you were the usual sort of canning society hypocrite. But you're not. You're more. You're a fanatic. You believe in your New Jerusalem, and your New Jerusalem needs money. And you've had money passing through your hands. Kay Ridgway's money.
Come now, Mr. Smith. Let us not be childish.
Remember I saw you in the King David Hotel in Jerusalem, opening a great wad of mail? I suggested you knew all about her marriage.
Possible. I hope the police will soon arrive. I would like an X-ray. There is much inflammation in the rise of temperature. He asks questions and refuses further sedatives.
That may be quite natural, since his wife was murdered last night.
What have you there?
These things were fished out of the river in a bundle. They seem to have been thrown off the boat.
Ah, a piece of velvet. A velvet scarf. A handkerchief. A bottle. And aha, a pistol. It is the right pistol?
It is the pistol with which Jacqueline shot Simon. J.S.
And it is also the pistol with which Mrs. Marston was shot.
Are you sure of that?
No, one cannot be sure. That is a police matter for the experts in ballistics, I think you call it. Only they can say with certainty that the bullet has been fired from a particular weapon. It is the right caliber. And 2 shots, I see, have already been fired.
Yes, there seems to be very little doubt about it.
This is interesting. See the bullet holes? This was wrapped around the pistol, so. The bullet was fired through the material. That, I suppose, was used in order to deaden the noise of the report.
Why, that's Aunt Helen's scarf, the one she couldn't find last night. She's been so annoyed with me about it, says I should have looked after it.
Ah, but it is not your fault. Always I have noticed most conscientious you are.
Doctor, Ross my ship. He's all head up and insists on being brought here.
That I've expressly forbidden. He must remain quiet. He has fever. These young, healthy men, they're the worst patients when they are ill. I must be stern, very stern.
That stout medico seems to have fallen for you, Christina. Take my advice and have nothing to do with him. He's a dirty old man.
Dr. Bessner is a very clever man. He knows a lot. He's a psychologist.
That's the first time I ever heard it called that before.
I don't know what you mean. Anyway, he's very learned, and he's kind.
What a girl. She likes everyone. Christina, you're the only really nice woman I've ever met. Will you marry me?
Oh, don't be so foolish.
That's not a way to reply to a genuine offer of marriage. Maybe for a witness, too. Christina, I've offered you marriage against all my principles because I know that's all you'd stand for. So marriage it shall be. Come on, Christina. Say yes.
You ought to be ashamed of your foolishness. The trouble with you is that you're not serious.
Not serious about my offer? I am.
I meant your character. You laugh at things you shouldn't laugh at. I doubt very much whether you'd make a very reliable husband.
But you'd easily be reliable enough for two.
That's enough.
So there you are, Christina, as usual when I want you.
Good morning, Miss Folio, folks. I believe this is the scarf you were looking for last night.
The one Christina mislaid so carelessly. But just look at the state it's in. Disgraceful. It's all full of mud and wet. What has someone been doing with it?
Someone has been using it for murder.
My scarf? What impertinence!
When is the last time you remember seeing it, Miss Folio, folks?
I had it before dinner. Christina ought not to have let me leave it behind. It was in here.
Is this your handkerchief?
No, it's a man's in a nasty cotton thing.
Yes, it is but a Woolworth's handkerchief, dyed with some sort of pink dye. Not even a laundry mark on it.
I suppose I can take my property even though it has been completely ruined. I shall sue the company.
It will have to be shown to the police first.
The police?
Yes, there is a police launch on its way. It should be here in a couple of minutes.
Oh, I see.
I've been meaning to get you alone, Miss Folio, folks.
Indeed, I can't imagine for what reason.
Just this. I want to marry your niece.
You must be out of your senses, young man.
Not at all. I've asked her to marry me.
Indeed, and I presume she sent you about your business.
She refused me.
Naturally.
Not naturally at all. I intend to go on asking until she agrees.
Mr. Smith, I shall take steps to see that my niece is not subject to any such persecution.
Come now, what have you got against me?
I should think it is quite obvious, Mr.
Smith, of the Hammersmiths.
Mr. Smith, any such idea is quite out of the question.
You mean that I'm not good enough for her?
I should think that is quite obvious.
What's the matter with me? I have 2 arms, 2 legs, quite reasonable enough brains.
There is such a thing as social position.
Social position is bunk. Come now, Christina. I'm asking for your hand in the most conventional manner.
Christina, you haven't encouraged this young man.
Oh, no, not exactly. I mean...
What do you mean?
She hasn't encouraged me. I've done it all. She hasn't exactly pushed me in the face because she's got too kind a heart. Christina, your aunt says that I'm not good enough for you. She's quite right, of course. Not in the way that she means. My moral nature certainly doesn't equal yours. But her point is that I'm hopelessly inferior to you socially.
I should think that is equally obvious to Christina.
Is it? Is this why you won't marry me?
No, if I liked you, I'd marry you, no matter what you were.
But you don't like me.
I think you're just outrageous. The way you say things, the things you say. I've never met anyone the least like you.
On the whole, that's not too bad a start. I'll be calling you Aunt again.
Canon Pennefather, will you make this young man leave the room at once? If you don't leave the room at once, sir, I shall ring for the steward and have you put out.
I paid for my ticket. You can't have me put out of a public saloon. But I'll humor you. Auntie.
Dear, I'm most upset. That dreadful, insolent young man.
Yes, perhaps a bit eccentric, but then most of that family is. They tend to tilt before windmills. That's why they dropped their title.
Title?
Yes. Did you not recognize him? He's a young Lord Dawlish of the Hargrave Smythe family. As I said, they are a bit eccentric. I believe they are part of the Communist Party, rolling in money, of course.
Indeed, indeed. This is most interesting, dear Canon. I'm much obliged to you for telling me all this. I think perhaps that I'd better have a word with Christina.
Why, Simon, feeling better this morning?
Oh, I'm all right.
Madness, I tell you, madness. Do you wish to kill yourself, Mr. Marston? All this excitement, all this movement, it is most injurious. Let me at least give you an injection.
I don't want it. Can I make you understand that I can't be kept away in your cabin to be doctorly humored? I gotta be in the center of things. I mean, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm as strong as a horse. I've got to be in the center of things to find out,
You see?
Get that dope away. A drop of brandy is what I want.
Brandy will be very injurious to your wound.
Steward, double brandy.
You are impassible. I wash my hands.
I'm sorry. It's just I can't be kept away and treated like an invalid. I've got to find out who killed Kay. Jackie didn't. So who did? Are we any nearer?
Yeah, I think we are.
How's Jackie?
I don't know, she's in her cabin.
I must see her. I simply must see her. Will you go and fetch her for me, Mr. Smith, will you? There's a good chap.
These things were fished out of the river this morning. A velvet scarf, a handkerchief, a bottle marked nail varnish, and this.
Jackie's pistol?
With 2 shots discharged.
So someone did creep along deck last night while I was unconscious and take the pistol and go around and shoot Kay? All to blame it on poor wretched Jackie. That's what makes my blood boil. Blaming poor Jackie. Jackie who wouldn't hurt a fly.
My dear Simon.
Oh, that's different. I more or less asked for that.
Who do you think killed Jackie? Louise.
Somehow, I don't think it was Louise.
But her behavior here last night was quite peculiar.
Yes, I'll grant you that. She does know something.
Simon! Oh, Simon! Can you ever forgive me? I must have been mad, quite mad.
Not mad, just a bit tight.
But I might have killed you.
Not with a rotten little pea shooter like that.
And your leg. Perhaps you'll never walk again.
Now, Jackie, don't be maudlin. As soon as we get to Aswan, they're going to put the x-rays to work, and they're going to fix me up in no time. I'll be walking just brand new, just in a nick of time. Now, don't be worrying. I thought you might be worrying a bit.
Worrying a bit? Oh, Simon.
That's all right. You've always been a bit hot-tempered.
I'm a devil. That's what I am, a devil. But I didn't kill Kay. You do know that, don't you?
No, everyone knows that, thank goodness. Now listen, Jackie. I think we have a way of getting at the truth through Louise.
Through Louise?
Yes. Ken and I both thought her manner peculiar last night. We think she may know something.
But what could she know?
There's a chance, I suppose, that she may have looked out of her cabin last night and seen someone or something.
But then, why doesn't she just say so?
Well, in my opinion, she's out for blackmail. You see, if she tells what she knows, she'll send someone to the scaffold. Consequently, she expects to get large sums of money out of that person.
Isn't that... I don't quite understand.
Yes, I've always thought she's been very dangerous, but that's not the point. I think, in my opinion, there's only one way we can get the truth out of her. That's bribery. Bribery in a big way. That's our chance. We mustn't miss it.
Must it be that way? I don't like it.
It's got to be done now. It's got to be done that way. Don't you agree, sir?
No, I agree with Jacqueline. I find the bribery of a witness is very wrong.
But if it gets results...
No, the whole principle of it is wrong.
I'm sorry you disagree with me, sir, but I'm going to try it anyway.
Tell me, was Kay really shot with my pistol? Do you know for certain?
It's possible, but the police will first have to look at it.
Somebody else on board might have had a pistol.
Bessner has a revolver, but of course, that's a 35.
I don't like this scheme of yours, Simon. I will have absolutely no part in it.
I'm sorry you don't like it, sir, but at least stand by and see how it goes.
I will not cooperate in any way.
We'll send Bessner in here. There should be a witness. Otherwise, she may deny the whole thing afterwards. Oh, and send Louise in here.
Yes, Smith. He will do. Smith.
What's the big idea?
Bribery and corruption.
Oh, that's it, is it?
Yes, the canon disagrees, on principle. I hope you don't.
I have no principles.
Not good. Now, just go over there and efface yourself over there.
I become part of the background.
Monsieur, Mr. Senior?
Yes, I did. Have a seat. No, there. You know, Louise, I've always thought you were a very clever girl.
Thank you, monsieur.
And that's why I want your help over this very sad business.
It is indeed sad. Madame was so young, so beautiful, so rich.
We've got to find out who did it, Louise. That's very important.
Of course, monsieur.
So you will help, won't you?
Monsieur wishes my help to find out who killed Madame?
Yes, I think we understand each other.
I do not understand you at all, monsieur.
Louise, I'm offering you money for the truth.
For the truth?
Yes. I think you understand me.
I do not understand you at all, monsieur.
Oh, come now, Louise. Quite the wide-eyed innocent, aren't you? Now, come on. Let's get down to brass tacks. Let's say, perhaps you looked out of your cabin at a certain moment last night. You might have seen something. Now, what might have you seen?
It is you who tell me.
I said you should tell.
Tell what I saw? That is, if I saw anything at all.
Yes. You might have seen, perhaps, a person.
I might have. I do not say I did.
But I say you did. And I say you're keeping that knowledge to sell it to someone. Sell it to me, Louise.
I do not understand, monsieur.
Sell it to me. How much do you want? 1,000 pounds? 2,000?
My God!
Damn, this leg. Is she badly hurt?
She's bleeding very badly. Dr. Bessner. Was ist das?
Simon! Oh, Simon! Oh! I thought you'd been shot.
What just happened?
She was shot through that window.
She is not dead, but she is dying.
Will she speak?
Impossible. If you will help me, we can take her back to her cabin and see what can be done. But I do not think I can help her now.
So disturbing, Christina. Have you mind admitting?
Disturbing? To death disturbing?
Quiet, Jackie. Don't let go.
It's all so horrible.
That's all right. It's over now.
Simon, do you feel all right? You don't look very well.
It's all the excitement. Not best for me.
Your hands are burning. Are you in pain?
It's my head. Going around. Lightheaded. I mustn't be lightheaded. I've got to. What have I got to do?
You've got to find out who killed Kay.
Oh, that's right. Hang on to that. Kay. Who's Kay? Oh, of course. She's your best friend, isn't she, Jackie?
How is she?
Dead.
Oh, I know I should have never come on this cruise. I came for a rest and a change of air. Come, Christina.
Doctor, Simon, he's ill, very feverish.
Naturally he is ill. It is most dangerous what he insists on doing. He should have remained quietly in my cabin. Now he has fever. Come, all of this has been suicidal madness.
Suicidal? He's not going to die.
Of course not, young lady. I'm vexed, that's all. Steward! Now, young man, I take charge of you and do not permit any more madnesses.
Can I come with him?
No, he needs quiet.
But please.
He is my patient and I cannot have him excited.
I will give him an injection. He's always wanting to give someone an injection. I suppose he should give one a lethal one with my aunt-to-be.
I think you will find, Mr. Smith, that Miss Folio-Foulkes has had a change of heart.
What do you mean?
That she knows you wear your Smith with a hyphen.
Who told her that?
I.
Damn cheek. Christina!
Red. Aha.
Simon's so ill. What's that you're holding?
A bullet.
Where did you find it?
Embedded in the floor. There.
Is it important?
It means now that I know how Kay has been killed.
I don't understand.
You see this scar? It's been wrapped around this pistol, and the pistol shot through it. This is evident by the scorching in the bullet holes. It was suggested this was done in order to muffle the sound of the shot that killed Kay. But Dr. Besner stated quite clearly last night that the hole in Kay's temple had shown signs of scorching, thus proving the pistol had been held closely against her head. So you see, the bullet that was shot through that scar could not have possibly have been the bullet that killed Kay.
I see that.
Now, the two shots we know had been fired last night. The one that killed Kay and the one that you shot at Simon Morstan. But of course you could not have gotten that scarf wrapped around this pistol.
Of course not.
So you see, there must have been a third shot.
I see what you mean, but...
Now, when we examine this pistol closely, we can see that two shots have been fired. But quite possibly, a third shot might have been fired and a cartridge put back into its place to make it appear as only two shots have been fired. If so, when was the third shot fired? And what was the object of it?
I can't even begin to imagine.
When you were in here last night, was this window open or shut?
I don't remember.
When I went to bed, it was shut. When I came back in here later, it was open. Who opened it?
What on earth has that got to do with it?
A good deal. You see, when I had logically demonstrated to myself that a third shot had been fired, I looked for the bullet and found it.
I still don't see what you mean.
Now take Louise, for instance. In front of the four of us here last night, Smith, Besner, Simon, and myself, she made it quite clear that she knew something. She even unmistakably hinted that she'd seen the murder. Why?
Blackmail.
A blackmail, most certainly. But why a public statement in front of four people? Why not go to the person concerned and say to him or her, I know. How much will you pay for silence?
I can't imagine. That would certainly have been the sensible way.
Then why not adopt it? And the answer, the only possible answer, is that that was impossible. Do you see how close to the truth we are getting?
I suppose I'm stupid, but I don't.
Louise made her veiled threat in front of 4 people. Therefore, it must have been directed to only one person. She could have gone to me alone. She could have gone to Smith alone. She could have gone to Besner alone. There was only one person she could not find alone. A wounded man, Simon Moss.
Simon? Simon! But you're mad.
That plausible young scoundrel and waster, Simon Marston, of whom I had already heard something of, so that when I got Kay's letter in Jerusalem, I immediately came here to see if I could protect the daughter of my best friend. I failed, and that failure lies heavily upon me.
But what you're saying is impossible, absolutely impossible. Simon was here last night until after Kay went to bed, and after that he never left till I shot him. After that he couldn't have walked a step. Dr. Besness says so.
Yes, the sequence does seem complete, but it isn't. You see, you fired your pistol, but the bullet went into the floor and not into Simon's knee at all. Simon then took a handkerchief stained in some sort of red dye and applied it to his knee. While you, Smith, Besner, and Christina were on the other side of the boat, he had time to pick up the pistol from where you had dropped it, run to his wife's cabin where she was sleeping, drugged no doubt. Simon killed Kay. He ran back here and opened that window, then inserted a fresh cartridge into the bullet, shot himself in the knee, wrapped everything in a bundle, and threw it out the window. He then had time to place a handkerchief, which was with his own blood, to his knee, so that when Smith and Besner found him, he was in the same position as they had left him 5 minutes earlier.
It's fantastic.
It's fantastic, but it's true. Simon had one piece of bad luck, though. Louise didn't drink her variable chamomile tea, which had been suitably doctored. So you see, she saw him sneak out of his cabin, Kay's, come along here on the deck, and then she saw him shoot himself in the knee. After that, she set out to blackmail him. Simon reassured her in front of all of us. He said, "Don't worry, Louise, I'll look after you." But by blackmailing him, she signed her own death warrant.
Nonsense. Simon didn't shoot Louise.
No. He had to rely on quick wit and the understanding of someone else, his partner. You shot Louise and killed her, Chaplain.
It's a lie.
Simon told you that he knew Louise knew. He also told you that Besner had a revolver. You went and got that revolver and shot her.
It's a lie.
Have you ever heard of the Millage test?
The Millage test?
When a pistol is recently fired, minute grains are embedded in the skin. They can be extracted by a millage of wax.
Yes, I would have killed you. I didn't think it mattered so much killing Kay. Kay, who tried to rob me of Simon. And Louise, she was just a blackmailing harpy. But I like you. You tried to help me. I see now why one must do no murder. Once you've learned how to do it, you do it again, and again, and again. That's true, isn't it?
Yes, that is true.
I don't want to kill you. I like you. You tried to help me. Do you know that first night I almost did what you asked? I almost got off board, gave the whole thing up.
Would to God that you had.
May I tell you how it all happened?
Please do.
It was all true what I said. Simon was looking for a job. I induced Kay to give him one. Then when she saw him, she fell for him. Poor Simon, he's always wanted money so badly, and he's always been so miserably poor. I saw what he felt. I told him that he'd better give me up and marry Kay. But he said being the husband of a rich wife was no good for him, and he loved me. He said, if this was a book, I'd marry a rich wife, and she'd die within the year. And I saw it. I saw the idea come into his head. I taxed him with it, but he just laughed and said, you leave it to me. But I was terrified. Simon's so simple, so terribly optimistic. I knew he'd go about in some perfectly idiotic way, so I had to help him. You do see that? I had to help him.
We worked it out together. My following them round, Simon's pretense of hating me. Everything was worked out down to the last detail. And then you trapped me. I'd never heard of the Melage test.
Your guilty conscience trapped you. You see, in your case, the Melage test would have meant nothing because you had handled the pistol the night before. In Simon's case, though, it would have meant a great deal, for he never touched a pistol.
You mean this is going to hang him? Oh, Simon, Simon!
When the sun shines, the moon is always there. But one can always see it. Both of you said that in almost exactly the same way. I should have known then that you were acting together.
I love Kay. I wish she was alive. I know that now. She was so gay and happy, so generous and warm-hearted. Oh, if one could only go back.
You mustn't go back.
There's a way out, a quick way and an easy way.
You mustn't take that way.
You can't stop me.
To take your own life is as bad as to take that of someone else's.
Even if it's already forfeit?
Your life is not yours to take. It is only yours to live.
You're cruel.
No, I'm still trying to help you. There are spiritual values of which you know nothing about. These next few weeks might mean all the world to you.
To my soul.
To your soul.
Lawrence ahoy! Egyptian police are there!
Won't you give me back my pistol? Aren't you going to stop me?
The decision must be yours.
I see. The decision must be mine. All right, you win.